ninja warriors through the ages. The powers they hold are legendary. Over the years, the ninja forged the deadliest poison. With only one antidote, they held the power of life and death.
So what's good, Chief?
Oh, just another day, man. Just so what's new, man?
Another day, bro. Another day.
That's where I'm at this point. Oh man, yeah. Your response to my video yesterday was absolutely classic. You're just like, please, just don't lose hope at this point, because I feel like I'm surrounded by idiots at this point.
They're all over the place, man.
They're bad too. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's pretty bad, man. I don't know what's going on. I really don't. Well, I do, but
we're not going to get into that.
We can, but we only got an hour, so yeah.
I don't. That's too long of a conversation for an hour. I'll tell you that much right now.
That's a semester. That's a full-blown semester.
Yeah, we've been dealing with some people trying to tell me about my medical profession. Like, they're talking medical like specifics with no medical training, and trying to tell me how to do my job.
So what happened? What's the story behind that, man? What happened?
So I got into it on Twitter with somebody. Because they posted up the Elijah thing. The Elijah, trying to remember his last name, and I can't for the life of me right now. But about the amount of ketamine that was in his system. I, as a paramedic, I use ketamine on a regular basis. So it was, and there's a lot more that goes into it. It's the half-life. It's how it's metabolized. Will show, I have no idea exactly what time frame they used it in. If it was a single dose, if it was multiple doses, none of us have that information. And to sit there and go, well, the paramedic needs to be brought up on charges for giving him that much. I've given that much.
Come on now.
I've given that much to intubate. I've given that much to calm even a suspect down that then proceeded to tell me that he wanted to cut my face off and wear it.
That's not extreme.
That's just another day for me when it comes to dealing with that kind of stuff. But I've used that same amount, so it's like I think they're saying that there was 500 milligrams in his blood, and I'm like, well, I'm not sure if it was 500 or not. Like I can't see the medical report. I can't see, the autopsy report, so I can't speak on it. But I can tell you this much, stating that it was that they were using a horse tranquilizer. Ketamine has regular uses in the medical field every single day. We use it all the time for all sorts of situations. So, and then for me to stand up and try to explain that led to me being called the lovely R word. That's what I'm calling it at this point. Because it's just, I'm like, you guys don't have this kind of, and then to have somebody go, well, I'm a pharmacy tech and we don't, ketamine has no use in the medical field. I'm, whoa. Pharmacy tech.
Come on,
versus
dude.
Somebody who administers it.
Come on, dude. That's completely different.
Yeah.
Completely different.
And it spiraled way out of contrul. And next thing you know,
here it comes.
There I was.
Yeah. It's only a matter of time. When you corner somebody, it's funny how they start resorting to that. Now, I call people names. I do that. But I'm not going to do that and not explain myself, right?
Exactly.
If you're gonna go down that road, okay, fine. But at least have some type of intellectual backing when you do that shit.
Exactly. And it was like there was no intellectual backing. I'm sitting there going, well, I have no idea how many doses they've given, because you can give repeat doses.
Yeah.
I have no idea any of that, and neither does anyone else. and to sit there and try to speak on something that little to nothing about. And that's why I brought that to you yesterday, because I was like, you deal with it all the time. You were a history teacher, and to good Lord, and to have people on a regular basis try to tell you history,
like literally, folks, like literally.
I'm sitting there going,
jeez,
no, that's not, you don't get to do that.
No.
And there's the guy that you just addressed a little bit ago. You're like, I'm questioning whether you actually are or not, because
dude, if you'll see his video, bro, I forget his handle, but if you go look at that video, man, it's the very first video on this shit right now, unless he did a reply to mine. If that video was based off of some kid, and he's been going after kids lately. When I say kids, I mean, granted, I'm in my mid 40s, so I'm 20-year-olds are kids to me, but they're obviously a lot younger than him, and he just goes after these guys with the same old school right wing talking points, and I'm just like, how can you be an educator and not be willing to set these kids straight on things? And the topic of it was racism, by the way. And I don't.
It's a hot topic right now.
Yeah, the glorious R word, is that what?
Yeah, I was just calling it the R word at this point, because everybody's using it, and I think that it's losing its actual meaning and its actual hold on people's hearts and feelings and stuff. And that's what concerns me, because there are the real racists out there.
Yeah.
And then there are people who, they may say things out of line and they need to be checked.
Right.
But does not mean that they are a racist.
Right.
And I think that that's something that really needs to be differentiated in this day and age, because, you can't have something like that, something with such a harsh meaning and such a, major piece of our history background to it, behind it,
right,
and just fling it around like it's nothing.
Right. You're absolutely right about the fact that it's gonna wear off. It's gonna be so diluted, and the sad part about it is, bro, it's like, I know black folks like to call the right and things of that nature the racist party and stuff like that because of Trump and all that other shit. But quite frankly, the watering down of that word started with the liberals. I'm being dead serious about that shit. It started with the Democratic Party watering down that we're calling everybody racist that didn't agree with your fucking point when it wasn't necessary. And it just cascaded until everybody just regurgitating that same point. When they can't necessarily explain themselves, they start calling people racist and shutting down the whole freaking conversation. And it wasn't started by the Republican Party. It was started by the Democratic Party. And they wanted to just keep continuing that stuff, man. And like you said, we can reserve that word for situations that actually call for it. But just calling everybody that word because they support somebody is not being genuine, right? You're not focusing on that person's character as an individual. You're just attaching it to a label or a brand, so to say. Now, I've clearly gone on video and said that people attaching themselves to a certain party based on certain politics and certain ideologies and things of that nature kind of makes me wonder why. But at the same time, I mean, it is a huge umbrella, and there are a lot of different individuals under that umbrella. So that's the beauty of social media now. And that's why I encourage people to make videos. Show us who you truly are, and don't just put yourself under a label. And
for the love of God, if you're gonna comment, have content.
Yes. User da 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 da. No. Man.
Oh my God!
Come on.
I've been getting into a lot of debates lately, and it's just turned so nasty as of late, and it's been a problem. And I'm like,
I hate that.
And so it's kind of the stance of like, I can be against racism and still also support the idea of police do police reform? 100%. We've, you and me have gone over that a ton in our last one.
Yeah.
But you can do both of those things.
Sure can.
And the minute I say that, it's not I back the blue or, all that. It's the idea of law and order. Mm-hmm. And not in where it's at right now, where hopefully it moves to.
Right.
We'll see.
Stay tuned.
We'll see. But I get so many people that are like, how can you do that? You support the brutalization of Black Americans. It's like, no. That's not it. I support the idea of ensuring everybody's safety. Because not everybody has the capability of protecting themselves.
Precisely.
And so I 100% support that. Do I support police reform? Absolutely. Do I? And so it got to the point in one of the conversations that I actually have a friend of mine who is a sheriff's daughter. Mm-hmm. And I went to school with her, and she kind of hopped in on the conversation, and she was like, because we were discussing the violence that kind of carries over not just to police officers, but to their families, where they're getting followed home. People are, and I distinctly remember back in high school, she had a knife held to her neck.
Stop.
Because of who her father was.
Wow.
And she brought that situation up. She's like, this is real. And they're like, oh, well, I'm really sorry that you got bullied. That's further than bullying.
Yeah.
That, to completely dismiss somebody's entire, experience with, it's just bullying. I'm sorry, that's traumatizing.
Yeah.
Not saying that bullying isn't traumatizing, but to
that's
have
levels, dude.
corner you and hold a knife to your neck.
Come on, man.
And so it's one of those things where we get to a point in the conversation where then it just turns into because they are 100. The two people that I was talking to are 100% for abolishing the police completely, not just police, sheriffs. And they, I've tried to talk to them about the ramifications when it comes to fire and EMS. Mm-hmm. That's my main kind of standing point on that is they've got my back. I've almost had the kicked out of me for doing CPR because it's a barbaric act.
It is.
It is. It truly is.
Yeah.
And thank God a police officer was on scene to see what was about to happen because the guy was already wound up and took him aside, didn't arrest him, didn't do anything. And I made it clear, hey, emotions are running high. This is a very tragic scene that's going on right now. I understand. You thought I was hurting her. I get it. And it's that kind of experience, and to completely dismiss the idea of having that kind of safety for myself when I can't have eyes on the back of my head while I'm treating a patient. My job is to treat a patient, not control the whole entire scene and everybody around.
Right.
And it's that idea of, and so they completely dismiss. They're for getting rid of all of that. And then to tell me that, well, your job's just going to get a little rougher.
A little.
Listen. I already have nights where I can't sleep. We're really going to put me in that situation,
dude. You're not going to make it home, man.
Well, there's so many, and the other thing that people aren't seeing that isn't being talked about is there's a mass exodus from fire and EMS at this point because of the whole situation that's going on, and with police being afraid to do their job and controlling a scene, and if they have to, having to put somebody to the ground. If things get out of control, I mean, it's already happening. Police department not police department, a fire department in, I want to say Colorado. 85% of their department filed for retirement.
85%. What, dude?
You can't hire enough people to fill the spots.
And this is going to put a strain on the economy too, folks. Mm-hmm. Because when you got all these people starting to pull pensions.
Yep.
This is going to be a double-edged, well, hell, it might be a triple-edged sword, because then you're going to start losing medical personnel too because of COVID and them contracting COVID and their loved ones contracting COVID, and no more room at the hospitals. And now you have people of your stature that won't even be able to go out because, one, there are not enough of them, and two, they're fearful of their life, man.
Mm-hmm. And people just aren't realizing it. They don't see the long-term consequences of what, instead of going, hey, like, and I know that there's been attempts to fix, here and there on occasion, attempts to fix the police force and what's gone wrong with it. Throughout history, there's been those little, but a major police reform instead of abolish, I'm going to go with let's try to fix it, but utilize today's needs, society's needs today.
Right.
And let's not just go, well, we tried these couple of things. First off, the same people that tried those things are still in office, so there's a reason that things aren't going well. And second off, why are we not being louder about fixing? Everyone's so quick to throw things away these days, and it frustrates me, but they don't see the long-term consequences. They don't see the broader picture of it.
Yeah, they're thinking with their emotions. And you gotta incorporate people in there who just want to cause trouble too, man. There's some people who just want shit to pop off because their life sucks, pretty much. You know what I mean? So they want everybody else's life to suck too. They don't know what they're asking for. But there are some people out there who are just, it's been going on for so long, they just don't know what else to do. So they just think with their emotions. They're like, yeah, we just got to destroy everything. And that's not how you keep a democracy rolling. That's definitely not how you keep a constitutional republic running. Because when you start destroying, pillars of society, and law enforcement is a pillar of society, it's just been used on a highly corrupt level, but it's still a pillar of the society. When you start eliminating things like that, as you mentioned, bro, I mean, you're going to have a lot of dominoes that are going to fall that we're not going to be able to pick back up. And a lot of people
I always talk about the first responder industry as like a three-legged, like a tripod. You knock one of those legs out, it's over.
Yep.
Because the other two, we depend on each other so much. Like I get called on a regular basis to police scenes to render medical care for whatever might be happening, and then I'll call them if something's going wrong, or we're transporting a patient that is turning violent, or somebody we've had instances where somebody refused to allow us to secure a firearm that was within arm's reach. I still want to treat the patient, but I need to ensure my safety while I'm doing that. And people they're not seeing the broader picture. And and every time you bring up the broader picture, it's an immediate, oh, well, then you don't care about what's happening. No, I do. That's why I'm talking about it.
Right. Duh.
And then I have these same people telling me that the Constitution is completely irrelevant and no longer needs to be enacted today.
What?
And I'm like, are you?
What?
I mean, it's the same as like, I'm just giving you a list of like things that I've seen, read, and have had said to me in the last, month.
Yeah.
And it's just like, the Constitution is irrelevant, not 9/12/2001. I consider to be like one of those days that we truly pulled together as Americans.
Yeah, that's real.
And I was told that that's not true. It was false patriotism.
I can see why people will say that. I can see why they say that. But there wasn't nothing false about that. That feeling was real, dude. That was a real feeling. You could see it too, man. You see people on the street walking to the store, or whatever. It was just different. Like
everybody was looking out for one another.
Yeah,
everyone had each other's back. Yes, did we?
Now maintaining
maybe
it.
Go overboard on a certain group of people.
Oh hell yeah.
Yes, but at that point in time, it was that same idea of that's been going on in this country forever. A group of people gets basically shit on every couple of years.
Yeah.
You see the rotation, and where I kind of sit with it is we need to end that.
Mm-hmm.
If you're here in America and you're doing right, and you're not just helping yourself up, but helping each other out and looking out for each other and everything else, you're an American. That's it. There's no reason that anybody should treat you badly. There's no reason that anybody should talk badly about you. It's having that love for one another.
Right on.
It's just not there anymore. It's just so people are so bent on making themselves look better by any means necessary that they will shit on everybody else.
Yeah.
And it's so bad.
Man, it's getting old too, man. It's getting old.
I ended up I know that a lot of people noticed, and some people messaged me and noticed that I hadn't been posting much on any of my social media platforms. It's like, dude, I had to take a break. You get into so many discussions and it's just this revolving door of just filth and nastiness.
Yeah, man.
And it's like, why? Mm-hmm. Why not come together and let's stand united as American? I don't see why this is such a taboo idea. I don't get it.
It's not across the board, thank God, but and it is a unique situation that we're in right now, man. We haven't had a pandemic in this country. Well, the world hasn't seen a pandemic of this size since the early 1900s. So it is a unique situation, and when we have a unique president in office, and and the circumstances are extremely rare, I think, in terms of the history of this country, but it's definitely obvious that we as a nation need to get it together, or we're not going to pull back from this, folks.
Nope.
It's going to get real ugly.
It's going to get bad.
Yeah.
It's going to get really bad, and I don't want to see that. There's no reason for it. I think that there is a lot of love out there, and you see it.
Yeah.
You see glimpses of it, but those voices need to be a lot louder.
You do.
And you got people like yourself and me, and there's 4 or 5 other ones that I follow regularly on TikTok that are just, they're out there, trying their hardest to make the world a better place.
Yeah.
Trying so hard.
They're out there.
And if only the voices would get a little bit louder.
That's what we're trying to do, man. You got a show, and I'm trying to get this podcast out there to folks, and we'll connect minds, man. That's what we're doing.
That's what I like to hear. Yeah. Well, I had a question for you that I was going to pose on TikTok, and I was like, no, wait, I'm talking to him today.
Yeah.
What was the one? Oh, so I'm trying to remember how I was going to phrase it. This is what happens when I drink this much caffeine. I had way too much caffeine this morning, but it was one of those mornings where I had to use a potato peeler to get myself out of bed this morning. I was all cozy and happy, and the world was a great place in my little cocoon, and I was like, I don't want to do this. And then my little one comes in and jumps right next to me. And I'm like,
yeah.
All right, now I got to get up.
It's on.
It's game time. They wake up and they're on it in the morning.
Energy.
I just a little caffeine first. They're like, no, we're going. That's it. Balls to the wall from the minute their eyes open.
Yeah, man.
So what are your suggestions for how to bring about changing minds when it comes to conversation? when it comes to these like conversations, instead of it turning into just this nasty name calling, what do you think?
First and foremost, seek some type of common ground. Don't go full blown political off the gate, folks. We have a lot more in common than we tend to realize, just because we make assessments off of what one looks like, not necessarily what they are about in terms of life experience. I mean, you never know. I mean, you might have some type of commonality in sports, food, beverages, family history in terms of where you're from and where your people live, things of that nature. It could be a numerous music, literature. It could be a number of things. Seek that first. Don't go full blown political, just talking about how to fix this country when you don't even know the person you're talking to. You might have more in common off gate before you even get to that politics thing, and then you might split, but you won't split quite as far from each other because you're like, wait a minute, we were just cool 5 minutes ago. I know we got more in common than that. Well, so what is it about your party or your political ideology that doesn't fit mine, and why do you feel that way? Then you'll start to see that there are some fallacies that you've been believing all this time that doesn't necessarily fit the reality of the situation, and then you'll come to a commonality like, well, then if you've been lied to and I've been lied to, what the fuck is going on?
Who's been lying to us?
Who's been lying to us? Bingo. And that's what they don't want us to do. They being those who control the mass media, right? Those who control the halls of Congress, those who prop up the presidency, the seat, right? The title of the presidency. That's what they don't want us to do. They don't want us to realize that we have far more in common, especially as Americans, than we realize. When we figure that shit out, it's going to be a fucking problem for them and a benefit for us. They don't want us to benefit. Because
I think they're starting to realize it, and that's the scare.
And it's scaring the shit out of them. Look at Portland. Yeah. Look at Portland. Look at what's about to happen up until the month of November. It's not going to get pretty, folks. It's going to get a lot uglier than it is because they're scared to death. Like you said, bro, they're scared shitless. They have never been in a situation. Social media has not been around long enough for them to be like, oh shit, we screwed up.
People can talk.
Oh, buddy. all they saw with the internet was commerce, e-commerce, global economy, the new world order, or however you want to look at it. What they didn't realize was people actually going to communicate on this shit. They're going to figure out that they have more in common with each other. And there goes our propaganda machine. They broke that son of a bitch because now they can make their own videos. Now they can bypass our network and have their own network. It's scaring the fuck out of them, dude.
Oh, yeah. I mean, it's unfortunate that a lot of people are still reliant on that mainstream media.
Yes, sir.
You get, like, I'll watch the news. Mm-hmm. I'll watch, and then those are the stories. Mm-hmm. Okay, now I got what I need to look into. It's not one of those things where it's like I watch it and go, okay, that's everything I need to know. Oh no. We're gonna watch 4 or 5 different channels, get all the reviews, and then I'm gonna hop online and read, and then I'm gonna hop on my social media and read, and eventually you're gonna come to the thing that you. I absolutely love it because I had the misconception about it until I've watched your videos. Then you come to the truth. Yeah.
Oh, that's a big word right there, buddy.
That's the one thing that I like. I never even like connected those dots until I started watching your videos, and I was like, facts don't equal truth. Facts add up to the truth.
Yes.
And that was it was one of those things where it's bingo.
Appreciate it, bro.
I've had people where they're like, oh, well, they're sharing these news stories. And there's one person in particular that every single news story that they share is from CNN. And it's like, and of course they write this huge paragraph on top of the article about all the things in the article and I'm like, If you posted multiple different sources, it'd be a little bit different. And so I commented on one of them, and they're like, "Oh, well then, why don't you just go watch your Fox News?"
Look,
whoa,
look,
whoa,
look.
whoa, 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 whoa!
There they go.
Why are you just assuming that that's what I watch?
There they go.
Why do you just assume that you know exactly how I do my research? Because it's not true.
It sure ain't.
You have to watch all these different things and read all these different things in order to find the truth.
The
in
truth,
there. And
yes.
it's in there, but it's in bits and pieces from all the different sides.
Yes. I appreciate that, man. That's real. It took me a long time to come to that conclusion. But boy,
I just
it frees your world up, dude. It really does.
Oh yeah, and that's the thing I think that really over the last probably 6 months that I've actually really taken a hard look at everything that's going on and really diving deep into it. That's when I found all of these preconceived notions that I had that were absolutely wrong. That were, that I needed to break my mind of. And then I realized I know very little about the actual history of the nation that I live in. So then it's, diving into that and reading and I've been doing a lot of the great courses and doing readings along with them. And that's why I pose questions to you too, because it's like, okay, I kind of get it, but I kind of don't. And just the way you present the information it clicks with me. And that's one of the reasons why I've been so drawn to like making, connecting with you on YouTube and doing all that kind of stuff, because you're someone who is presenting everything in an unbiased fashion.
That's my goal.
And that's something you don't see anymore.
Nah, man. It's either or. Nah, I just want truth. I don't give a damn.
Yeah.
how it falls, if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. If I'm right, great. But at least we know the fucking truth. Because you can't shake that. If it's true, then it's true. Right? If we don't know the truth yet, fine. Let's collect the facts and sit on them. But let's make sure that the facts are real and not, falsehoods. But facts lead to truth. But you got to make sure those facts are based on some, a sound foundation, so to say. But dude, let's just get to the truth, man. Because that doesn't allow room for feelings, right? Truth is what it is. Truth is what it is. You take it how you want. I'm not gonna argue with you about it. But true is true.
The ninja